So in this movie you play the wife of a returning Iraqi vet who has post-traumatic stress disorder. Mm-hmm. And you're shooting it here in Portland. So first of all, how do you like Portland?
I really love it. I mean, first of all, I took a nice long drive up here from Los Angeles, and Oregon is beautiful and very different looking from California. I stopped on the way up at Crater Lake, which is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And we were in Maupin before we got up here to Portland, and that was definitely an experience and very rural and lots of fun. And Portland's been great. Yeah.
The wife's name is Jenna, the wife of the soldier. What attracted you to the role?
Well, first of all, the story in its own, I was very attracted to because I feel like it's a very American story, and it's really about the soldier. It's not necessarily about the war or about the country necessarily. It's about you know, one soldier's story and his family, and I think that Jenna and Crystal, you know, the family that's left behind, they're very strong people to receive back their family, you know, their family member who is greatly hurting and has yet to come to terms with that himself, and they stick by him. And I think that Jenna, her love is definitely with her daughter Crystal, and so for her it's a balance. It's between supporting her vet, her husband, and also keeping her child safe, which I think is definitely her sort of climactic moment, is when she has to make those choices. Part of our rehearsal week up here in Portland before we went down to the ranch was we met with a woman who counsels returning vets, and talking to her just about what the families go through was, I mean, it gives me so much respect for military families. I can't even imagine. You know, I have 4 brothers, and having any of them, you know, returning and having this kind of, you know, problems would be very, very, very upsetting.
I understand someone told me that in addition to playing the role of Jenna, you had another job on the set.
I really love to cook, and there was a bunch of us all living in the bunkhouse together, and that's where they were sort of housing the cast and crew. And so I don't know, it's a good way to get to know people, is to cook and make meals and hang out together, so that was nice.
It seems that a lot of film actors don't have any formal training at all, but you, on the other hand, started on the stage, Shakespeare.
Yeah, well, I went to college at Fordham at Lincoln Center in New York, and I loved it. My teachers were amazing, and I got a chance to study a lot, and definitely a lot of Shakespeare. I studied abroad in London at the London Dramatic Academy and also the Moscow Art Theatre School, and I really, I mean, I'm sort of drawn to the classics. That's my favorite. So definitely moving into film is different for me, but it's really challenging and exciting in a new, fun way.
So between your father, your uncle, and your grandfather, they've made literally hundreds of movies. So as a child, you're growing up. At what age did you decide to sit down and watch all these movies?
Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble. No, I've seen a lot of them. I have not seen all of them. Although, do you know what's funny? Actually, you mentioned it. What I started watching recently were some of the old Sea Hunt episodes, which are so fun. They've got them up on Hulu now, and I sat once with my mom and we watched a couple, and I've seen some on my own. It's really fun. I think, gosh, who wasn't on that show? I think my dad did it, my uncle did it, my aunt did it. I mean, I think my grandma was in a few episodes. I mean, I think everybody sort of did that show at one point.
And if it were still running, you'd be in it. There's this wonderful film that your Uncle Jeff and your father Beau made together called The Fabulous Baker Boys. And someone told me that something bad happened. They were supposed to be, it was a very dramatic scene where Jeff breaks Beau's fingers, but it went too far.
Well, apparently they actually broke. This is a story that I've heard from my dad. You know, it could be him rousing his little brother, but but yes, I believe from my sources that is true.
And it went wrong because the safe word...
There was something about a safe word, and they just kind of kept going, and the safe word went out the head, and They definitely, you know, it's brothers. They'll do that when they're acting with each other. I always love seeing people who are actually related playing family members in a movie, because it just goes places that it wouldn't have gone elsewhere.
You mentioned your brothers earlier. You have 4 brothers, aged 16 to 41. So you grew up, were they protective of you?
Very protective, but also a lot of fun. I loved growing up around boys. I joke that when I went to college, it was the first time I lived with women, and there were a few things that were just very confusing, like, you know, my roommates wouldn't be talking to each other because they like the same boy, or, you know, something, and I wouldn't understand these things, so I would go about my business like normal, and then, do you realize we're not talking to each other? And, oh, I'm sorry, someone needs to translate. Can't we just, like, have a little fight or something? I don't know.
Congratulations. Welcome to Portland, and I can't wait to see it.
Thank you so much.